Hello, Robert. How are you doing today?
Hey, Jyoti. Thank you very much. I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah.
And
Welcome to Mindspark podcast, first of all. I'm so grateful that you gave me this time, and I'm so happy to be interviewing you because I know you for quite some time, and I've also studied Swedish from you. So, for the audience listening, my name is Jyoti, and I've started this podcast to basically invite a lot of inspiring people and share their journeys with you so that you can also get inspired in turn. And I am interviewing today Robert, who is my Swedish teacher, and I have known him since I think couple of years. More than that, I've been observing his work, but that inspired me last year because he has a lot of free classes and a lot of tryout classes as well, which inspired me to join. And when I joined his course, it was really great. I My Swedish has improved. I also landed up getting a job actually by speaking Swedish because I am working in a Swedish company. So it is so inspiring, and it makes me so happy that I can share this knowledge and this person with you as well. So if you want to start your Swedish journey, of you if you are in the middle of your journey, you can definitely use Robert and his services, and he's really a great teacher. You learn pretty fast compared to the other like normal SFE, which I have also done. So I have done several classes, but so by far I found this one of the best, and to learn very fast and improve your vocabulary. So after this long introduction, welcome Robert, and I'm so excited to have you here today.
thank you very much, Jyoti. Thank you very much for this lovely introduction and your honest review about our courses. And I can also tell to our listeners that if you stay with us and listen, I will reveal you something very nice. So there is some surprise anytime during the podcast. So stay with us.
Yes. Please do, because I have so many people sending me messages almost every day on several of my platforms, asking me how they can improve their Swedish, how they can, fasten up this journey of theirs, and what are the tricks and tips, because we all are working professionals. We all are like, we don't have that much time to dedicate like completely only to studies. So yeah, so let's get started. And yes, as Robert said, do stay till the end and listen, so that this is going to be a full power packed session, which will definitely help you in your Swedish journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Robert, let me start from your childhood, from your like educational background, and where are you born? How did you come to Sweden? And your the beginning basically.
Absolutely. I'm born in Baku, Azerbaijan.
Hmm.
And when I
Okay.
was 14, my father got a job opportunity by a Danish company, which had a branch
Hmm.
in Sweden. So we moved to
Okay.
a little like village, Guldsmedshyttan, nearby Guldsmedshyttan. So at the
Hmm.
age of 14, back in 2002, we moved to Sweden. That's how I ended up there. And from that part, one can say that yeah, my ambiguous time of my life started. At one point, a bit boring. At one part,
Hmm.
adventurous because yeah, after all, everything was new. But the boring part, I yeah, just to mention, when you are a teenager and you come to a place like Sweden, you don't meet people a lot. And normally in other
Right.
countries, you just need to go out. You just go out, and by next day you will have lots of friends. But it is not the case in Sweden. In Sweden, you are quite
Mm.
isolated. So, in that sense, I say, yeah, that was lots of time spending with yourself. And
Mm, right.
otherwise, yeah, everything was new. I had a great passion for history and languages, so I was spending quite lots of time with the books and
Mhm.
learning languages. And when I started my university, I did my major in history, and then I selected lots of
Okay.
language courses. But by that time, none of them was related to Swedish language. Yeah, I had interest for Germanic
Mhm.
languages, true. But at that time, I was not, I hadn't discovered the passion for Swedish.
Right. So you came to Sweden when you were 14 years old.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. And I mean, what year was this?
2002.
2002. Wow, it's so early stages of, I think, Sweden. I mean, because I came in 2016, and still there were like so less people. I think the influx of people had just started in the last couple of years, 2 to 3 years. So it must be real. I can understand it must be really lonely. And so, how did you cope up, and how did you find friends? Did you use any tools, or like, apps or techniques to get friends?
Yeah, back then the internet wasn't so developed,
Yeah,
2002.
right.
And then also, I have to add that it was not even Stockholm. I mean, it was a little village nearby Örebro. That's the nearest big
Mm-hmm.
city, relatively big
Okay.
city. So yeah, you would maybe find like people who speak maybe some other languages, like people with a migrant background. Somehow, you could get along with them, but
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, no other way of socializing.
Right, right. So when did you complete your education, and how was your experience in the early labor market? Like, did you start working immediately after your graduation, or did you get any masters, or like how was your early journey in the labor market of Sweden?
That's a great question. Yeah, I started working when I was already 16. I started as a paper boy delivering commercial papers. And when I
Okay.
was going to the university, meanwhile, I worked as a dolmetscher, so to say, interpreter. I
Mm,
translated between Russian, Swedish, and Azerbaijani, and vice versa. So that was
okay.
my job. But as I finished university, as I completed the university, and since I had humanitarian background, like history and languages, that's not really job leading education, to be fair, uh, because it's not like very practical. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
personally I had a difficulty with getting into Swedish labor market, but also being objective. In general, it is very hard to enter Swedish labor market, and there is an objective statistics that it takes in average 7 years for immigrants to get into the Swedish labor market, and there are some objective causes for that. The one is
Mm-hmm.
that there are not so many jobs available since Sweden is not dense populated. It's like empty. There are not so many services. So yeah, there is no need for uh, a craft. There is no need for manpower. Uh,
Mm,
and the second reason it is the tough conditions that the employers have, because here we have two perspectives, a job giver and job taker. And from the
mm,
perspective of job giver, so employer, uh, it is hard because they have to pay lots of taxes for keeping employees. They have tough conditions, and also, it's easy to employ someone, but it's much harder to get rid of someone if the person doesn't
mm.
perform very well. And this is a
Right,
problem. This is
right.
a problem.
Mm,
And because when you have probation time, they work good, they come, they are not sick. But as soon they get their contract, as soon they have this permanent or so-called until further notice contract, yeah, they start to show them from not the best side and not
mm,
performing well. And the thing is, you cannot really fire someone for not working like 100%. That will be hard to do. Although, yeah, nowadays there are some tricks. For example, for big companies, they would move you to another section if they don't, yeah,
okay.
in general, if they want to get rid of you, they will move you to another section, and at the new department you are again at your probation time. So when your probation time is over, yeah, then they can simply say, okay, thank you. So I want to say that, yeah, there are indeed some tricks to get rid of people if they want, but for small companies it will be harder. So yeah,
Yeah.
back to me. I and the reason why I'm saying that, I have something to compare with, because as I did my studies at the university, I also made my exchange years in Germany, and in Germany
Right. Okay.
to enter the job market is way easier. The only thing you need to do is to call the advertisement, and they appoint
Hmm.
interview tomorrow already. While in
Oh,
Sweden,
really?
yeah, that's the difference between Germany and Sweden is like Earth and the moon. It's a so big
Oh
difference.
my God, I
Yeah,
was not aware of this.
exactly. And so you come to the interview, you get answer yes or no. While in Sweden, you have to wait like 3 months for sure for even like a very simple unqualified job. You have to send your CV, digital, no physical contact. You don't visit them, you don't phone them. You just write email, okay, and then after 3 months, they will send you email. Yeah, thank you for your application. We decided to go further with other applicants. Good luck with your application. So this is a true reality in Sweden,
Yes.
and
Yes, definitely. I have been first hand. I have first hand experience of this, and I can totally relate to what you're saying because it is in Jan. I completed 8 years being in Sweden, and it's very difficult to integrate in the Swedish society to say. And about the job applications, I completely agree, and it is also very demotivating to receive a lot of rejections without any concrete feedback. I will really appreciate if somebody can give me a constructive criticism, or they can give me some feedback that okay, you need to do A, B, C, or go about this way. But there is absolutely no feedback. It's just like a standard automated reply saying that we have found someone else. All the best for your application, and keep applying whenever we have any requirement. That's it.
exactly. But by the way, regarding what you mentioned, by law, actually, you can require them to send you a feedback. You can ask them, please send me feedback
Ah,
why you didn't. Yeah,
okay.
many people don't know about that, but you can
Mm-hmm.
do it if it gives you something. Because if you think that you are the problem,
Mm-hmm.
most of the time you know that it's not you who is the problem, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but otherwise, yes, you can force them to send you feedback, but also yeah, this emails, yeah, it takes lots of time. You don't know what to
Yeah.
do. And I remember that when I was applying for a job as a train conductor, I've also worked as a train conductor. And one
Wow.
day I got called, say, yeah, you have applied for that job. And honestly, I forgot even. I mean, it was so long time ago that I said, did I?
Mhm.
Like 3 months, 6 months, and then the email comes. Yeah, you're accepted. Okay, that's so. This is a problem exactly. So I had a problem in that. But yeah, meanwhile in Germany, I worked as a servitor. I worked as a vegetable seller. It was a great student jobs, and there was no problem to get it. You come to interview.
Mhm.
Do you want to work? Yes, I want. So the job is yours. While in Sweden, yes, you will have sort of you have to, if you want to now work in summer, you have to apply now, and then you will have
Yeah.
some meetings. They will make so big deal out of it just because that you're gonna work,
Yeah.
for example, for 3 weeks. So it
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
complicated
Exactly.
thing to get a job. But as Arbetsförmedlingen, it is a Swedish unemployment agency, even they say that the 80% of people who get a job is actually due to their contact, the people whom they know,
Hmm.
or the people, yeah, they know some people who knows other people, so to say. Yeah, the
Yeah.
network.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. And I mean, I'm just so kind of agitated or kind of like demotivated also by this networking word. I mean, what is networking? I mean, first of all, you are in a new country. You're not allowed, or you don't get easily accepted in the Swedish society. You can't make friends. There are very less opportunities for you and less events until unless you are like is a part of a as you said, contact. So maybe your neighbor or someone might introduce you to somebody, and then you have to put on so many efforts in order to get in that circle. And I mean, it can take lot many years to make these contacts what we talk about. And then there is no written rule, or there is no book to guide you that what kind of contacts it should be and how you should approach these people, or where should you go and find these people. Of course, LinkedIn nowadays is there, so you have a option. But also I have tried that as well, and you don't get many replies back. So it's like you're constantly, I think, judging yourself. You feel that you're not good enough, you don't know the proper way, like what you should do, how you should go ahead, with finding a job or finding these people whom you can network and then get a job.
Exactly. And even if you are experienced person, you know, when you don't get any replies or positive replies, you lose the confidence, and that's the where the
Definitely.
breaking point starts. When you lose the confidence,
Yes.
yeah, you start to break. And
Yes.
when it comes to CVs, many people don't know that there are rarely nowadays who gonna read your CV. There are some programs, softwares that actually calculate and given on the keywords, they will then recommend these CVs to the employers. So in other words, CVs are filtered by machine, and
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
people they don't know, but I know the inside information. Even the migration cases are nowadays read by the artificial yeah, intelligence.
Oh,
So
really?
even that is filtered somehow. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, be careful with the CVs. Write the things that your employer possibly wants to hear. And when it comes to CVs, I would say like this: skip telling about your family situation, like how many kids
Hmm.
you have or you're married, and skip telling at all where are you from. I mean, if they ask, they ask. Otherwise, don't
Okay.
even mention that. Yeah, that is um, one of the things that I would straight right away recommend to anyone.
Yeah. So you might as well just copy the job description, use the keywords, and put it in your resume, right?
Sort of, yeah. Of course, one should avoid like one-to-one copying, but yeah, but keeping relevant when you have this
Hmm.
motivation letter. Uh, why they should employ you, then you should of
Mm-hmm.
course keep close to the topic as much as possible without getting into your family background, and then
Mm-hmm.
just add on why you would be the valuable employer for them.
Right, right. So basically, how fit you are for that particular job, and why they should hire you.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, thank you. I mean, these are really eye-opening topics what you're speaking about, and which generally it's not spoken online in the online space, and that's the reason many people have this misconceptions and myths of getting jobs in Sweden, and then they come with so many hopes and stars in their eyes, and then when they see the reality, they get really depressed and upset, and upset from with themselves. And just for you also, and an audience also to know, I get so many emails and so many messages that people have full-time jobs back in their home countries, and they leave that and come to Sweden in the hope of getting a better future for themselves, a better life, work-life balance, and all this. And when they come here and they realize they have made a mistake, or they regret it, and then there is no going back because they have already taken some steps in order to come here. So it's
Exactly.
it's always good to be fully informed about everything.
Absolutely, and that's why I really appreciate
Hmm.
this opportunity to, yeah, give my honest review about
Of
the
course.
circumstances. Because I mean, of course, uh, the job situation, job market uh, could look differently for people with different educational background. Let's say if you are
Hmm.
a person with an IT background, yes, you could be also welcomed as a king. They would find apartment for you, and as you know, finding an
Yes.
apartment is a mission impossible in Stockholm. And these companies, they would pay maybe 20,000 crowns just for your apartment. They would give you a salary like 50,000 crowns, and yeah, you don't even you will not experience this kind of daily problems, so to say.
Hmm.
But let's be honest, not everyone is a IT person, right? uh,
Yes.
yeah, there are some portions, but most of the people they don't represent IT world. So there are
Yeah.
teachers, there are yeah, people within logistics and many other
Yes.
sectors. So as you say, people they take steps, and they maybe, yeah, they sort of burn the bridges, right? When you
Yeah.
take leave from your job, and maybe you, like, I don't know, sell your house, or any, give up your apartment, and you come to Sweden, then you realize that it is not described as you've been told. And I will tell you one thing, that Sweden, there is a
Hmm.
Swedish institution. People know them as the organization that provides, like, the supposed to promote Swedish language courses, or Swedish language at all. But actually, that is the small segment of their job. The 80% of their job is actually to promote Sweden. You know, on the social media, we see the videos that telling, oh, it's so great in Sweden. Sweden have that benefit, Sweden that another benefit. These are actually elaborated promotions. So the government stays
Hmm.
behind it, and promote Sweden in that sense. Of course, that's good. But the thing is, as you mentioned, nobody speaks about bad part. Nobody gives the
Yeah.
honest review about these situations, which is obvious. I mean, come on, the situation with the apartment, how obvious isn't that?
Yeah.
Like, you cannot, you have to wait in the queue like for 10 years. And
Yes, definitely.
nobody brings you the key saying, Jyoti, please, this is your apartment, you're gonna rent it, it's only for rent. It's not like you are granted a house, you just rent it,
Yeah.
but you have to wait 10 years. And meanwhile,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
gonna live with the boxes. I still have some boxes that have been made with me, like 14 moves. So I,
Yeah. Tell me about it.
exactly, I mean,
There
I have
was
the
a year.
boxes. Yeah, yeah, please, please, please.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a year in 2018 when I moved three times in a year, and I was literally living in boxes, as you said. So I just got a flashback. I didn't dare to remove my stuff out of the box because I knew that I have to move again, and I don't want to just unpack everything and then arrange everything and again pack. So I was just keeping my clothes in the suitcases, and I was just wearing the clothes and keeping it back, because it was so, and I was so frustrated because, okay, if you're a bachelor or if you're alone, it's much
Hmm.
easier, but moving with a kid, with which has several implications, because your house, wherever you're staying, your child also gets admission in the school nearby the house. So if you move, you get pulled out, I mean, you get fired from the school, so because you cannot travel 1 hour with the kid for the school. So my daughter has, in like 2018, when she actually should be inside school, she was most of the time at home because of the moving and the other problems. So nobody speaks about this, right?
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, I have personally counted. I made like at least 14 moving from
Wow.
different places and in
Yeah.
Stockholm. And this is also frustrating because to not have this sense of feeling home, you know, when you come
Yeah.
to your home and you think that, okay, I will move from here, or anytime the landlord will say, okay, now you're going to move out. This is very frustrating, actually,
Yes. Yes, it
psychologically.
is.
So
Definitely.
that's a thing to consider when you move to Sweden, that you're gonna encounter this problem most probably.
Yes.
So be prepared, and also
Definitely.
the house standards, they are not like in
Hmm.
your countries. The houses here are much smaller. The biggest like three-room
Yes.
apartment you can get is like 76 square meters, and
Yeah.
you're still gonna need the boxes to have a
Yes.
big storage room.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. It's not enough. It's not enough.
not enough, not
And
enough.
we over the over the years, especially when you have a kid, you tend to accumulate stuff, toys, clothes, and so much of stuff. And I always I believe in minimalism, and I think Sweden just uh, made me believe it more, because I know I cannot accumulate stuff here because I don't have any space to keep. And even if I accumulate, and where do I carry it, or where do I give it? So it's so frustrating. As you said, you cannot decorate your own house, you cannot make because you tend to kind of create a vibe, a personal vibe for your own home. You maybe want to put pictures, or you want to put the way how you want your house, because it's a safe space to come back after a hard day's work. But then that is not possible, so I just keep the least minimum amount of stuff. And I don't believe in hoarding, because I know I cannot I'll be not able to maintain it.
Well, that's very strong from you. Honestly, if
Yeah.
you can maintain the amount of the stuff, exactly, you have to be conscious about it. Of course, in
Mm.
Sweden, people tend to accumulate stuff because you spend most of your time at home. For
Yeah.
example, in other countries, yeah, you come home basically just to sleep, and then
Mm.
you are eating outside, you are spending time with your friends outside, so you don't really have the need of having that cozy at home.
Mm.
Sweden is famous for having this cozy furnitures and cozy way of furnishing the house. Yeah, that is exactly for that reason.
Yeah. And
Also, if you
also
have
the weather,
the
because of the
we-
weather also, you tend to be so much at home.
yeah, exactly, the weather and the distances, the prices also to some extent. So these combinations makes that you prefer to be at home,
Yeah.
uh, because in other countries, yeah, you will go out, you can like call a taxi. It's not a fortune of money to pay, but in Sweden, yeah, you are very dependent on the public
Public
transport,
transport.
and the taxi system is way too expensive. Although, yeah, somehow with Uber, which is relatively new, Uber and
Yeah. Bolt.
uh, Bolt, exactly, they are, yeah, they are much more affordable thanks that they are existing. But before that,
Yeah.
I mean, taxi, you could easily pay 80 euros just for a
Yes.
20-kilometer of distance.
Oh yeah. Definitely, definitely. And I have been living here for 8 years, and I recently just discovered Bolt and Uber, and I dared to try it because it is little cheaper. So like, but still, I mean, as you said, like I think 5 to 6 kilometers itself will cost you like 150, which is not cheap, but at least it's there. There is an option
Exactly.
in cases of emergencies, or you want to travel somewhere.
Especially with children, I think, I mean, that's
Yes.
very difficult to change the buses. Yeah, I mean, to be
Yeah.
objective, yeah, Sweden has a good public transport, but yet when the distances are huge, and those of
Hmm.
you are living in Stockholm, you know that of most often you don't live in the downtown, you would live somewhere in like in the suburb of Stockholm, which will be at least 20, 30 kilometers. If you are lucky, you will live by a commuter train, then you just need to sit in the train. But if you're unlucky, you will need to walk, you will need to catch a bus to come to the main point and then change another bus. So it can be complicated.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So wow, we are having such interesting conversation, and I mean, yeah, it because I have visited Stockholm like 2 to 3 times, and that is another thing. Like after living in Gothenburg, which has little slower kind of life compared to Stockholm. I mean, I will never be able to live in Stockholm because, as you said, the travel, and it's so fast, and you are used to kind of I think Gothenburg is like a comfort zone. It's like I don't know. It's very slow, and you have enough time to like take your own time, and to discover things, and so it's quite slow compared to the city Stockholm life. I feel. So how do you manage around Stockholm?
Yeah, I mean, at the end you get used, and also I live when I am in Stockholm, I live next to a commuter train, so I don't need to
Okay.
change many times. I mean, transportation. But again, we spoke about that you're sitting at home, yeah, because
Mm.
it takes time to get to the city, and then depending on st- all over Sweden, Sweden is sort of getting closed very early, so
Hmm.
you need to also get back home, and then there might be difficulty with the catching those trains and
Yeah.
the buses. So you it will take you another hour or 1 hour and a half to get home, which
Hmm.
is not worth it simply. So you just
Right.
sit at home.
Yeah. Work from home.
Work from home, precis.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best. Yeah. So when did you start, like what inspired you to start teaching Swedish language, and when did you start and how did you start?
Absolutely. Back in 2016, I started to work. Yeah, when I graduated, and then I was unemployed for a while. So I was thinking that okay, let's work as a substitute teacher, and then I was substitute
Hmm.
teacher for all kind of subjects in the school, in gymnasium, which is like a high school. And I honestly I don't have any good experience from that, but somehow I also ended up to sometimes be substitute teacher for adults like SFI. So,
Oh,
and in 2018, I got a job at SFE,
okay.
and then I realized that okay, this is indeed something that works out for me, and people are also very satisfied. So, and I never felt like that's hard to do. Sometimes, somehow, I felt like this is
Hmm.
my thing. It works for me
Yeah,
very well.
yeah.
That's how I discovered. Yeah, I could be a Swedish language teacher, and as I mentioned before, I never really thought of that because it's a bit ironically this is something was in front of me all the time, and I was like
Hmm.
walking unemployed. And if I only knew that before, uh, so that's how I started to work at SFE, uh, and then in 2020 when the world was captivated by Corona. Uh,
Yeah.
you know the story with Sweden. Sweden was only country who didn't implement the lockdown, but
Yes.
there were like trends that people would entertain each other with playing
Yeah.
music together, gaming, or do something. So I was thinking, let's create Swedish classes, let's entertain people. So I announced in the Facebook that yeah, those of you are interested in learning language or do something during lockdown, please join the Swedish classes. And indeed, people who are not related to Sweden, who are not like living in Sweden, they joined. All kind of people joined from America, from Germany, like from all over the world
Wow.
people joined to these classes. So and then yeah, when the summer
That's
was
amazing.
over, yeah, indeed, and then when the summer was over, yeah, stuff started to sort of settle down. I mean, people start to get back to work. Of course, that wave uh, like yeah it went down, it disappeared, but otherwise the people who are genuinely interested in learning Swedish, they remained and they approached me to
Hmm.
have the online courses. And back then, this is also something uh, yeah, if I only knew that, I
Yeah.
never realized that uh, one could offer online courses in Swedish, especially for people who live in Sweden, because I was
Hmm.
thinking that okay, there are SFEs which is free.
Yeah.
It's like selling, yeah. I mean, selling snow to Eskimos. Some people say, right? I mean,
Yeah, true.
Sweden is full of SFE courses all over.
Yeah.
So I never thought about that. Um, and yeah, people start to approach me, and we since that time, yeah, continue. It's our fourth year. We are continuing with Swedish
Wow.
courses.
Yeah, congratulations. And by the way, you're doing an amazing job. I have been part of your course, so I can vouch for that. And since you have been in the both the worlds, like you have been a part of SFE and you have been now, you are an entrepreneur now teaching your own Swedish language courses. So what is a major difference? Because I've also been in both, and I find it like very, very different. So what is your take on that?
Absolutely. SFI works in a different way. Their main segment is basically people with not higher education. Of course, there are people with higher education, but in SFE they divide people into the tracks. Track number
Mm,
3 is for people with higher education. Number 2 for people who went to school, and number 1 is people who are like analphabets. And
mm,
the one of the problem, although they should be kept separately, but in reality we know that they are mixed up. Sometimes you see that
mm.
the levels of the
Yeah,
students, they don't match at all. And also the problem with SFA is that there are lots of unmotivated students. They come to SFA simply because they have to in order to get allowance. They are not interested to learn anything. And also, yeah, to skip to work, because you have to do
yeah,
either work or come to SFE. So it's like
yeah.
it's drawing the pace. And also their approach at SFI is that they don't teach from English, they teach from Swedish to Swedish. Yes, the good side of it is that you hear more Swedish, but the bad side, instead of explaining something, just say it in English. They will take a couple of minutes or sometimes half an hour to explain one simple thing, which is a bit time consuming. And I also say
Mm,
that people normally who work, who do have a job, they cannot afford SFE. And you're going to say, how it's possible? SFE is for free. Yeah, SFE is for free, but you cannot afford that time. It is very time
yeah,
consuming, 4 hours a day. Okay, that's wonderful, but the way how they spend these 4 hours is not effective. The teachers will
yeah.
come and hand over the papers, fill in that like grammar exercise, and we will see each other in 30 minutes. And then they start to talk, walk, and this is like, it's sort of a daycare for adult people, I will say. Although there are good teachers, there are people who have good experience with SFA. That's true, but I just explained why there is indeed a bad side of SFA, and people, they don't know that SFA is not for free. Actually, it is paid by the municipality, so you cannot
Mm,
get SFA, for example, if you don't have a personal number, except
mm, yeah.
European citizens. So the municipality is paying for each student that they have. And sometimes, yeah, they prefer people with less education because they're going to spend more time at SFI. So that
Ah,
is about
okay.
time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's all this kind of stuff. It's
Oh,
sort of business between a big companies and the government. They have sort of agreement.
okay. Okay, okay. Oh, this is new because I was that's what I was wondering because I have been part of every SFE school because I've been here for 8 years, and whenever I get short term contracts because I have my core, my field is marketing, and for marketing and communications they definitely need the language.
Yeah.
And when I so I've joined all the schools. I have joined Hermods, I've joined Eductus, I've joined Folk University and different schools. And I think only in Folk University, which is closed now, they don't no more operated in Gothenburg. So it's paid courses. But that time it was free when I did it. I think it was in 2018, and I did an intensive course. So I was it's like a full time job. So I was 40 hours a week in the school. So obviously, if you are listening to Swedish like morning 7 to evening 4, you will obviously start speaking more. But the only time. And later on, after especially after during and after pandemic, when I joined SFE in different school, they are not teaching you the same way how they used to be before. So it's quite like as you said, just give papers and give some homework or something like that. There's no active participation of the teachers. The teachers are missing. They go on weeks and weeks of holiday and they don't come back, and then there's a substitute teacher, and then you wait for the original teacher, and it is like a chaos. So that is a time when I decided that no, I'm never going to go back to SFE. And I started looking for options. That is the time because I felt it is complete waste of time. I could use that time and do something more productive or something more constructive, which can help me in my career. So that is the time I found you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, the teachers are not there, and this is also one of the things I mentioned about the for the employers, right? Because as soon
Mm,
people get their um, uh, permanent job contract, they
mm,
start to being sick, and you know everyone can get sick.
mm,
I'm not questioning that. Everyone can get sick, but
mm,
when you are getting sick all the time, and when you are getting sick, like there are some patterns. You understand that okay, it's not about being sick,
mm,
right?
mm,
So these things are happening, and as you said, that there are lots of desperate students because you know there are some students that need to move from one level to another. They need it
mm.
because then they can get a job, but they need to
Yeah.
come. They need to accomplish SFI. But when the teachers have not been to school for 2 months, or they're coming and
Mm,
they're going, and there's nobody who can appoint them to write the test, because usually SFI teachers appoint, they tell
mm,
when you are ready for the test. And this is indeed, I remember the crying students, like adult people, they were crying coming to me. I mean, but I was like substitute teacher. I couldn't um, really do anything about it.
yeah.
I mean, I was substitute teacher, but also I had my own class, but still it was
Mm,
based, my contract was as a substitute teacher. So
right.
yeah,
Okay. So, what is your advice? Like, because since you have been doing past 4 years now, you have been observing patterns and people's behavior who want to learn Swedish. So, what is the top three, like pointers or advice which you can share with the immigrants, especially who are coming from all over the world to Sweden, and they want to maybe learn Swedish very fast, and they want to get a job, or maybe become a teacher, or whatever it is, that is the fastest path for them to start earning money. So what do you think, like what is your top three suggestions?
absolutely. I will say the king of this suggestion, the yeah suggestion will be consistency. Being consistent
Mm,
is the king. You have to study at least, not, if not every day, but almost every day. Let's say study
mm,
4 days a week, because it doesn't help if you have if you study one day 5 hours and the next time you study it's next week. No, rather study 20 30 minutes, but do it every day. So consistency is definitely is the king. And then also try to be goal minded, like okay, people, they are a bit in a hurry. They are overestimating what they could do in a short time, but they are underestimating what they could have done for let's say 1 year. So what I want to say with that is, when you start to learn the language, don't expect that you will speak it in A1 level. So A1
mm,
level is the beginner level. Have your certain expectations, what you could do for this level, and for the next level, and for the final level. Uh, so being consistent is the most important thing, and also have
mm,
certain expectations, relevant expectations for the levels that you are approaching. When you are in Sweden, if you are in Sweden, I would say there are lots of libraries. Sweden is really great when
mhm,
it comes to libraries. All these kind of books are available in the libraries, so you don't need to buy the books. Of course, you can buy them too, but if you want, you can
mm,
check out in the library, and you will for sure find the all kind of textbooks to learn Swedish.
okay.
If you want to do it on your own, and
Yeah.
also there are lots of resources today, among others, Åtta sidor. It is easy to read news. It's very easy to read, so anyone can do that. You can, for example, try to read these articles at least one a day, and you will manage it. I mean, it will take you like
Mhm.
maximum like 20 30 minutes, even if you are like a very beginner, to read them through. So today there are lots of resources, but I would say like this: give a chance to one of those methods. If you, yeah, don't
Okay.
try to like go between like different books, like I don't know, one chapter from here, another chapter from there. Uh, so give a chance to one method, and try for a while with that. But my second advice would be, uh, don't waste your time on automatic exercise. And what I mean by
Okay.
automatic exercise, there is an obsolete method when you would fill the gaps with the words, when you would put the right word here, put the right form of that. I mean, this is not bad, but this is
Hmm.
time consuming and it is not necessary. The truth is that the practice has shown that in reality, this is not really applicable. You won't be able to apply it when you start to write. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it is. This is something that we are used to. Sometimes my students say, "Robert, but aren't we getting some exercise in your course? I'm used to do this and that." That's true. This is something that we have learned from the schools to kill some time,
Hmm.
unfortunately. But in reality, that is nothing, nothing.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Because I experienced this, what you're saying, because I studied SFE and I was able to speak. But when I joined a company where I had a writing job. I was supposed to write newsletters in Swedish for a company, and I was lost. I'm like, and of course I got the guidance and everything, but it was so difficult. It was completely different from what I had studied. So the professional Swedish or the written English is completely different from what I learned in SFE.
exactly, exactly. And
Yeah,
um, the third one I would say advice is when you have already started learning, you gonna you have to try start to speak. Don't This is advice especially for people with academic background, because people with academic background, they are a bit shy when it comes to speaking. Because we rely too much on theory, we rely too much on
yeah,
let me learn more, let me be prepared, I need more. No, this is there is never enough. That's not never enough. So
yeah,
you, as soon as you know the basics, you must have encouraged start to speak, whether it is like a language cafe or whatsoever you can do. You have to try to speak. So the advice number one is being consistent. Advice number two: don't waste your time on this automatic machinery exercise. And the third one: you have to speak as soon as you know some basics.
right, right. Wow, that is so amazing. This took me almost 6 to 7 years to understand, which you just summarized in such a short time. So thank you for that. And so now I just wanted to remind you that you said that you have a surprise. So maybe
Exactly.
you can announce it to our audience, and yes, tell me something about your courses, your classes, and how people can get access to you and they can learn Swedish immediately.
Absolutely. Shall I start with the surprise or shall I start with the about our courses?
Yeah, maybe surprise.
With a surprise. Okay. So as I mentioned, we are turning 4 years, and yeah, that is wonderful. 4 years.
Hey.
I met so many wonderful people, and I also want to thank the community for. I mean, we exist thanks to students, right? So it's also a way
Yeah.
of from us to thank the community, and that's why as a anniversary for online Swedish we will have A1 level, so it's a beginner level free course in May. So the 20th of May,
Wow.
yes, the 20th of May we will start with a free course at A1 level, beginner level. So anyone who is interested in get started with Swedish language have now the opportunity. And this is information is not has not been announced anywhere yet.
Yeah.
So that's
Even
the first
I didn't
place.
know this, so it's amazing.
Exactly. So I mean, we have not announced it in this web page yet. So if you are a
Okay.
listener, then you are the first person who is hearing that. So if you want to get started with learning, if you want to have like strategies, ideas, or any kind of a basics of Swedish language, you are more than welcome. And as said, is completely free of charge. And regarding of
Wow.
our program, we have all the levels. So from A1 level, and when I say A1 level, it is common European framework of references for languages. So A1 is the basic level, and the advanced level is like C1. So we have A1, A2, B1, B2, and then C1, and sometimes C2. And we have courses covering all these levels. And yeah, in general, each course takes like 5 weeks, and we have lessons 4 days a week, and then we offer also language cafe that I always urge my students to come to. I'm not always succeeding with that, but still, we have this opportunity. And by the way, about language cafe, it is open to everyone. Everyone is welcome to join
Yeah.
language cafe, regardless if they are with our courses or not. And which is also great for the community, because we have people, people even with a native Swedish, they would join us, people from America, Finland. We have lots of interesting people joining
Yeah.
this language cafe. So, the, in case you have trouble to find someone to speak with, and I'm sure that you do, because in Sweden
Yeah.
it's hard. And I mean, one of the challenges that migrants experience in learning Swedish is that there is no one to talk to. For example,
Yeah.
in Germany, um, it doesn't matter whom you approach, and if you approach them in English or German, you will always get the reply in German. They will not reply you
Yes.
in English. But in Swedish, I mean, if they notice that you have a bit trouble of expressing yourself, of course, out of politeness, they will reply you in English. But it at the same time, I mean, it will make you. It's harder to learn Swedish for you.
Mm.
And also, this is one of the problem with the English speaking migrants or expats, because when you know English, you rely on English. You don't really
Yes.
feel need
Yes.
that. Yeah, I need to. Okay, I mean, you're gonna go to ICA and buy something. I mean, for that reason, do you really need Swedish? Probably not. So that's why people also can live in Sweden 5 years, 10 years
Mm.
without even have
Yeah.
a need of saying a sentence in Swedish. Exactly.
Exactly.
And back to our programs. Yes, so we cover all the levels, and nowadays the biggest segment of our students, it is doctors, medical doctors,
Hmm.
because they need a certificate, language certificate, for Socialstyrelsen, for the health agency. And also a big sector or segment of our students are from Finland, because in Finland, in order to get a citizenship, you need to have a language test. It's called Uki test. And as you know,
Okay.
Swedish language is the second official language in Finland. So
Yes.
you can either take a Finnish test or Swedish test. And then lots of people prefer Swedish because Finnish is a way much harder language to learn.
Harder. True. Yes. I have a friend who lives in Sweden, Finland.
Finland.
So she told me about it. So yes, it is definitely very hard.
Yeah. So that's why
Yeah. Yeah.
we have this segment. But otherwise, everyone
Okay.
is welcome
Great.
to our courses, not only doctors.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Robert. I mean, you have spoken every word out of your mouth today is been a gem, and it's going to help so many people. I'm very sure, and especially your surprise. Even I'm surprised by your surprise. So it's really so generous, because I know it's very hard to teach like absolute beginners and give them this time. So that's so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with our audience, and yeah, thank you so much for today's time. I have had wonderful time with you, having this great conversation. And yeah, I will mention all the details about Robert and his courses and his website in the show notes. So if you're listening on Spotify, and on the YouTube, in the YouTube description if you're watching it on YouTube. So do ask us any questions in the comment section. We will definitely get back to you. And also check out the courses, and if you're interested, you can directly, I will mention Robert's details in the description, so you can directly approach him and you can talk to him and get your Swedish journey started. So thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thank you, Jyoti. And I will also send you the link as soon as possible
Yeah.
for the people who want to enroll for the course. So you're going to see
Yes.
the link. So you can, from that link, write your details and enroll to that course. Other than that, Jyoti, thank you very much for having me here today. It is a great pleasure indeed to talk out of myself, tell everything.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, once more, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.